Hello everyone, welcome back to the Replay Studio. We're here with another episode of Dark, Season 3, Episode 2. Alternate universes. At least that's my assumption from what the information they've given us so far. Martha describes them as, another world. But it's the same with a few differences. Would suggest that a few events may have happened differently, and as a result of that, it creates some multiverses essentially. Um, hmm. I mean, we in the at the very end of the last episode, we met older Martha, and she explained to Jonas that, okay, this is a world where you don't exist because this is what you wanted. Um, Except he's here and now, but he doesn't exist. So he supposedly doesn't exist in this world, but at the same time, we did see younger Martha from this world travel to 1888, and Jonas did exist. So he doesn't exist here and now in that, at that moment where she's speaking to him. But the Cornwalls did exist in 1888 from what younger Martha had said. So this isn't exactly a world where he doesn't exist. He does exist here, just doesn't exist at this point in time. So there's a bit of confusion for me there when she says, this is a world where you don't exist. But clearly the show is hinting that, Jonas is not the anomaly that I thought him to be. I'm still holding on to that because I can't think of any other thing that could be the catalyst for this. She did say that perhaps it's him and her. So both of them, but this is of course not his Martha. This is Martha from this world. So they are triggering this somehow. So there's apparently some other reason for this loop that they're in. And younger Martha, traveling back to 1888, said she's there to help the stranger find the origin. So I guess that is to find where everything, where this all began. So that would be interesting. I'm curious to see where the show takes this. As I've said before at the very beginning of the season, I'm optimistically skeptic about this new direction as far as alternative worlds go, because it's just a far cry from what we've been building up to for the last 2 seasons. I would have preferred if we just stuck to the timelines. But I trust the writers, so I'm excited to see what direction they take the story in. So, episode 2, let's check it out. Let's dream again. It doesn't have the scars this time. That's creepy, man. She already said she's not your Martha. Ah. They're all here. I wonder though whether this is older Martha manipulating this version of herself in the same way that Adam had been manipulating Eunice. So she's on the same mission Eunice is, but I cannot shake the feeling that she's just being manipulated again in the same way that he has been. She seems very much obsessed, with her desire in the same way that Jonas was. We're back to before Mads disappeared, or just after he disappeared. This was 86, right? Yeah. He's just thinking about Claudia. You won't do that.
Gefickt hat sie. Während mein Sohn verschwunden ist, hat Claudia.
Damn. I think the whole town probably knew at this point. He's letting him have it, and he deserves it. Yet somehow she's still with him in 2019. And he's lying. Wow.
Keine Ahnung, wovon du redest.
Man, he got caught. Now we're in September. Alright, so it didn't just affect Wyndham. The whole world was affected. Just hit them a lot harder because they were, you know, at the epicenter of it. So Claudia's here. Where is everyone else? I don't know why, man, I'm so frustrated with some of these characters. I don't know how older Claudia would think this would be how she could help Regna, because now there's no treatment, there's no medication, so you're just resigning her to die. I hope she has a plan. I mean, Adam said she knows how to play the game, so I hope she had a plan.
Evakuieren das gesamte Gebiet. Einzumauern. Warum tun Sie ihr das?
So why aren't they? Why not just leave? So where is Charlotte? I don't see Charlotte. I don't see Noah. So they seem to have all split up.
In der wir alle bereits tot sind, weil deine Welt genauso untergeht wie unsere. Das ist doch Bullshit.
Wie hast du uns gefunden? Woher wusstest du, wo wir sind?
Jonas hat es mir gesagt. Ist gereist. Von eurer Welt in meine.
Ich war nie in deiner Welt.
Ihr seid spät dran heute. Die Maschinen laufen noch nicht.
He's blind.
Sie sind also der Grund, warum sein Gemüt heute noch schlechter ist als sonst.
Do I know you? Can't change things.
Vielleicht hat Urin jetzt doch geholt.
Was für ein Irrer.
Fass mich nicht an, du Pestbeule.
He had no manners. Ah, that's her name, Alvarez.
Was ist mit der los?
I'd say ask Hannah, but Hannah is such a liar, she'd probably not tell her something else. Ask Hannah. She's there.
Der Klaps ist diesen Sommer ein ausgebrochen. Hat versucht, Michael mit in die Höhle zu schleppen. Und in der Zeitung.
Du lässt deine Finger von Mikkel. Und von Ulrich.
Okay. You're making things worse. I don't know how she's gonna get Ulrich out of prison. It's near impossible. His son has disappeared, his wife is mourning, and all he cares about is his mistress.
Sie war ein paar Tage bevor Frau Tiedemann verschwunden ist.
The start of the wall that she was staring at the end of season 1. Incomplete here, but she'll get all of them eventually. All the people that died from the explosion. Oh, Clausen among them, and Waller.
Wir suchen. Frau Ende 40. Blonde Haare.
Wenn sie nicht an der Wand sind, dann sind sie nicht hier.
Yeah, they didn't make it. I guess there's some hope.
Kennt den Aufenthaltsort von Ines und Michael Kahnwald. Nach dem, was im Sommer passiert ist, hielt man es für das Beste, dem Jungen eine Auszeit zu geben. Und der Irrer ist zurück in der geschlossenen, genauso wie die letzten 34 Jahre.
34 years?
Einfach einmal klar ist. Wenn ich sie noch einmal hier sehe, nehme ich sie in Schutzgewahrsam.
Wer ist denn sein Name?
Leben Sie wohl.
Wie heißt denn der Mann?
She knows where Ines lives, unless they have her on the guard or they moved her somewhere temporarily.
Aber das Gottespartikel, wenn wir es stabilisieren können. Vielleicht ist es ein Weg zurück. Zurück in die Vergangenheit. Vielleicht können wir sie retten.
Or just move on, leave the town. The rest of the world doesn't appear to have been impacted as badly as Winden, so I mean, just leave. Aren't they in the bunker together? So I guess perhaps he left after.
Ich suche Nahrung. Und du?
Was willst du hier? Folgst du?
Schützen. Ich weiß.
I mean, he knows who he becomes, so I get it.
Das werde ich. Nachdem du getötet wurdest.
I guess older Noah probably told him.
Frau. Ist sie eine von euch?
Which is odd because the stranger here said that he's never been to her world, but she just took Jonas there. So he's lying. But at the same time, the other Jonas didn't tell her where to find him.
Was diese Frau für dich bedeutet. Vergiss nicht, was wir erschaffen werden. Das Paradies.
Who is this old man? Does it have something to do with the other 3 characters that we were introduced at the start of this season?
Vernichtet, bevor überhaupt entsteht. Sigmundus Creatus est.
Slowly turning into Adam. Yeah, Helen Albers. Yeah, that's her mom. Doesn't seem, it didn't appear she was a very nice person. She gave her daughter a black eye.
Ich sehe irgendwoher. Sie kam mir irgendwie bekannt vor.
Uh-oh. Wow, really?
Schichtende, kommen Sie mal. Das ist der heilige Christophorus. Der Schutzheilige der Reisenden.
Is that the same pendant, or is it just something that everyone not familiar with Saint Christopher?
Lassen Sie mich zu ihm. Bitte.
And Ulrich's been through it. And he's done some terrible things, but he's been through the ringer. Don't freak out and let the guards alarm and put you back in solitary. Stay calm.
Ich hole dich raus. Versprochen.
Maybe go to the 50s and get him out of there. She's obviously learned how to use the device. Why did she come to the 80s? I suppose because that's where Mikkel is, but better to rescue me from the 50s. Ah, man, he's just a...
Entschuldigung.
Oh, I thought it was Trant, but no, it's this
Entschuldigung, was
guy.
machen Sie hier?
Where are the other two? Oh. What would they want with a secretary, though? I understand them wanting the others, but she doesn't have anything to do with this.
Die Hölle ist leer.
All the devils are here.
Teufel sind hier.
Why kill her? Not sure what their objective. Well, I mean, I think it's their objective is to kill everyone involved with the God particle and, you know, prevent this whole thing. But I don't see what the point is of killing innocent bystanders.
Claudia hat nie gesagt, wer der Vater ist.
Is he the father? Makes sense.
Ich muss mich entscheiden.
I don't know. It's too late at this point. He's choosing now that my son has disappeared. Nah. And only because his lover vanished. He's out. She probably doesn't know that he's her dad. He's here to kill her so that Claudia tries to save her. His own daughter. So Claudia thinks she died because of the cancer. And she continues to try to save her. What I don't understand is why he's choosing to keep her here.
Wir werden sie finden.
Well, I guess they know everything now. And no way to change it all. She's been waiting to find her for years, and she doesn't until 2053. Comes abusive mom. So that's where younger Jonas was when he met Adam. I guess it was, well, it would have been sometime after 1888 when they finally finished building it.
Der alte Thanos ist der Einzige, der von ihm übrig geblieben ist.
Oh.
Mein Vater war davon überzeugt, die Gesetze von Raum und Zeit außer Kraft setzen zu können.
Townhouse.
Versuch, eine Zeitmaschine zu bauen.
Jonas versucht, die Dinge wieder so zu bauen, wie er sie gesehen hat. Er war schon mal hier. Ich war etwas gefragt.
How'd you find them?
Adam dich geschickt hat. Er hat gesagt, dass Adam Martha getötet hat.
Yeah, so he hasn't told him that he is Adam.
Er hat es euch nicht gesagt. Er ist Adam.
Oh, this might explain why Bartos season 10 where isn't alive, or at least we didn't see him with the other travelers. My suspicion is that Adam ends up killing him.
Freien Willens hingeben. Aber unserem endgültigen Schicksal entkommen wir nicht.
What name did she give herself? Eve, I suppose.
Sind andere. Und trotzdem laufen sie auf den gleichen Moment zu. Sterben. Die Apokalypse geschieht in meiner Welt genauso wie in deiner. In meiner allerdings bereits in 3 Tagen.
Alright, then we have episode 2 of Dark, and wow, Dark has certainly gotten really dark, offing pregnant women and everything. It has taken a turn for the worse. Just to clarify some confusion, because initially at the start of this episode, or when we ended the last episode, when we saw Jonas in 1888, I thought this was her version, in her world. I thought it was her Jonas. Just not existing in the same time that she's from, just in the past. But it turns out that it's our stranger from our 2020 that took the kids with the briefcase and took them to save them. But the thing that's not clear though is, he said that he's never been to her world. The stranger said that to this Martha. Said that he's never been to her world, but she just took him to her world. So he's already lying, unless we're missing something, because, he's right in that Jonas didn't tell her where to find them, because younger Jonas doesn't know where to find them. I don't think he knows anything at this point. but she did take him to her world, so she does know that that he is there. So the stranger should have experienced this already. So why would he be lying to the others, saying that he has never been to her world? Um, that much, and unless he's he's becoming Adam as you know it, and he's just despite saying no more secrets, he's just deceiving everyone, and playing a whole different game. Um, I mean, it's still not clear what this Martha is hoping to achieve. She says she wants to help him to find the origin, but you can't help but wonder whether this in this world she is the Jonas of this world, in that she's being manipulated in the same way that younger Jonas was by Adam. Her older self, we'll just call her Eve at this point, since since we're all going with biblical references from the beginning. Perhaps she's the Eve to his Adam, and she's manipulating her younger self to find the origin, but not to find the origin, just to ensure things continue as they have been. So that is interesting. Of course, we got a bit of a reveal. It was a very Trant-centric episode, and he's proven himself to be even more despicable than even his son. Yeah, I didn't think that was possible, but it is possible. After his son actually disappeared, and I'm not sure that Yana should have forgiven him, because I don't think he chose them because he wanted to. He chose them because he had no other option. What was he going to choose? Claudia is no longer here. So the absence of a choice, I don't think he was making that decision based on I love my family and my son is missing and my wife is mourning and I should be with them, and I have another son, so that needs me as well. I don't think he was making the decision on that basis. So she should have thrown him the hell out. But who knows? I mean, Ulrich asked her the very same question back in 2020. It's why do you keep making excuses for him? I don't think there's, even to this point, him killing Regina here, knowing that she's his daughter, that just sealed it for me. He's just a very despicable individual. Yeah. But I suppose this would have been Claudia's instructions. I don't think it came out of nowhere. It's still horrible that he did it, but it's obvious that this would have been something Claudia told him needed to happen, to ensure to ensure her younger self gets to a certain point. What I'm missing, of course, is how any of this prevents things from repeating themselves, because that supposedly is her objective, to ensure that things don't keep repeating themselves. But what we've seen so far is her ensuring that things repeat themselves. So she probably instructed, Trant that he needs to kill Regina, so to spur younger Claudia on to be obsessed with her desire to save Regina once more. And I said it before earlier in the reaction that I think it's just terrible that you're choosing to save her when she's on the verge of dying. If her intention was to really save Regina, she would have not told her younger self about everything that is happening, because that essentially caused the apocalypse to begin with. Her obsession with the God particle and all of that led to everything, led to everything happening. So the best thing she could have done for herself and for her daughter was to not tell younger Claudia about everything, but maybe I'm not playing the same game she is, so I'm perhaps not seeing everything the way she sees it. So I'm curious. I really want to see what exactly she hopes happens here. I don't know. That was, yeah. The three guys that are we've been seeing since the very first episode of this season. I can only imagine that they are somehow from another world, and perhaps they've experienced the same thing that younger Jonas has. But we'll see, we'll see. Either they will need to find the origin before he does, or before he and his other two selves finds everyone else and offs them, because that seems to be his goal. So that'll be interesting to see when if he crosses paths with the stranger or Jonas, because I mean, in my mind, the only persons he really needs to kill are Jonas and all versions of Jonas, and at this stage Martha and all versions of Martha, and perhaps that may be the key to solving this problem. But he's taking no explanations, just going around killing pregnant women, man. That I'm like, she's not involved in this. Why kill her? But wow, he's probably thinking to himself, I mean, she's dead anyway because of what's things that will happen. So everyone is expendable. I'm more interested in that character at this stage than I am seeing Jonas go through the same motions again, because I think it's unavoidable at this point that he's just going to become Adam. The question lies in whether Adam is a necessity, and that's the overarching question that hasn't been answered as yet. Is Adam does he have a higher goal in mind, in that he says he's the savior of humanity, and I wonder whether it's a case where he's trying to, perhaps only one of the three worlds can exist when everything is said and done, when you find the origin and to stop it, only one world can exist. And just perhaps, he's making the decision that if only one world can exist, then he needs to ensure that it's his world and not the other, I'm assuming, other two worlds at this point. It may just be one other, but with the other guy with his three versions running around, I suspect there's something else, there's another world involved. I could be wrong there, but either way, I suspect Adam's objective is to ensure that his world with his Martha and his mom and his friends, that those are the ones that actually survive this. But if that is the case, that means he'll be up against this Martha because she wants to save her world, and her older version here that we've seen. I'm just gonna call her Eve at this point because for consistency. But here, I mean, her objective seems very much different from Adam's, but at the same time, she's influencing Adam because, inevitably, he uses this information for the basis for what he does in the future. So I do wonder whether that is the case, whether, Adam Jonas has decided, or he's concluded that only one world can actually survive at the end of this, and he's just doing what needs to be done to ensure that the world that survives is the world inhabited by his family and his friends. Does that make what he's doing right? No. No, it does not. It's complex. It is complex. The situation with Ellie and Peter, I'm curious to know why exactly they chose to stay, because and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, the news report that we were listening to said the rest of the world was impacted, but not to the extent that Wyndham was impacted, which means that there is hope out there. It's terrible that it happened, much like other catastrophic events that happen throughout history. But why not just move on from that? Leave Wyndham. Peter could have taken her. I think, and I'm wondering, is it even voluntary? Because the soldier at the border was saying, why are you doing this to her? I mean, usually when the government gets involved to evacuate an area, it's not something that you have an option to do, because you can, by virtue of staying there, you can affect others in some ways. So I don't get why they're allowing them to stay there, especially since they're going to be sealing off the entire area. So I suppose they can choose to stay if they want, and Peter decides to stay with Ellie there for whatever reason. I mean, he knows that this kid grows up to be Noah, right? So I mean, that being the case, why would he keep Ellie there, knowing that? Well, he doesn't know the full picture of what happens in the future, but I would not. I would not stay there, especially for his daughter. At the very least, let her leave. You know, why keep her there? I don't get it. But I mean, the future that we did see in 2053, this does sort of explain a lot. I guess they stay within the zone, and Ellie pretty much just kills anyone that comes in. But if you know, her small group can't be that big of a threat. You know, the government could easily just wipe them out if that's the case. So I wonder who the persons are that keep trying to get in. The Frenchman that we saw, for example, is it just scientists that perhaps found out about research for the God particle and they want to find it, and she just kills them to protect that secret, you know? Yeah. Charlotte is alive, and sadly Ellie has been waiting 30 odd years for her to meet her again, and she doesn't until 2053. But I don't know. They can't change anything at this point because, you know, events have already happened. I don't think there's anything that they can do. We didn't get anything of Hannah this episode. I am curious to know what havoc she's wreaking in the 50s, and what the repercussions of that, because I do think there is some significance to her being in that timeline, but we haven't visited her in that timeline as yet. We did, however, see Katerina in 1980, well, 87 at this point. She met Ulrich, and as I said, you know, he's been through a lot, but I can't say it wasn't deserved. You know, can't say it wasn't deserved. We met Katerina's mom, and it's an interesting conversation because she, much like Ulrich, has, you know, they're both very aggressive individuals, you know, and there's a conversation that can be had about whether that is a reflection of the parenting that they had growing up. You know, Ulrich's dad was pretty much absent for most of his life. His mother was preoccupied with, you know, her missing son, and she was obsessed with that for a large part of his life as well. And here, Katerina's mom, very much abusive, and so she grows up to be somewhat aggressive. I'm one that believes that is no excuse, you know, for your behavior later in life. I think at a certain point, you can make that change. You can make that distinction that, okay, this is not who I want to be. So at a certain point, you are responsible for your actions, but that's not to say that you can't be impacted by your experiences growing up. So that definitely is very telling, you know, seeing who her mom was. And the St. Christopher pendant, I'm wondering if it's the same pendant that Martha and Jonas finds later on. There was a mention of, you know, some woman dying in a lake, I think, when we, at the end of season 2, when Jonas went back to before things happened, and I believe Magnus mistook Franziska for that person that they've been told died in the lake or whatever. But now that the pendant arrived here in this episode, I'm wondering if something happens. And perhaps someone does die in that lake there, and the pendant washes up on the shore, and that's how, you know, Martha finds it that day. And well, it was Jonas that finds it and then gives it to Martha. Yeah, that would be very interesting. That would be very interesting for things to come full circle. But you know, is it that her mom dies? You know, Katerina's mom dies. If it is a foreshadowing, that would be a hell of a thing. That would be a hell of a thing. But yeah. a very fantastic episode. It surely has given me a lot of things to think about and speculate about. An exciting episode, guys. I'm sure to post down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys for the next one.